I came home to surprise my wife, but it turned into a brutal confrontation. My wife had invited her lover over while I was delayed at work, but when I returned, I found a beaten stranger on the driveway and my wife in tears. "Friends, write which city you're from and how old you are. Very curious who's watching us. Enjoy the listen." The radio was playing some indistinct pop when I turned onto Oak Street. My head was already shifting from work to home, like every evening, right at 5. 14 years on the same route had taught my body to relax as soon as I entered our quiet suburban neighborhood. Shoulders dropped, jaw unclenched. The tension from the warehouse faded with each familiar turn. But something was wrong on the street tonight. Blue and red flashing lights cut through the twilight sky, painting the neighbors' neat lawns in ominous colors. Police cars lined the curb like a column. A hissing stream of unintelligible codes crackled over the radios. An ambulance stood in the very center of the street, doors wide open. Paramedics hustled around a stretcher, working with crisp efficiency. Our house, our old house, was the epicenter. Yellow police tape fluttered in the wind like festive ribbons from hell. A uniformed officer stood guard at the gate, arms crossed, face stony. Where guests usually parked, an expensive SUV blazed, engulfed in furious orange flames, thick black smoke roaring skyward. Firefighters doused the burning metal with jets of water. I mechanically parked in the driveway, cut the engine. My body moved on autopilot, but my brain couldn't grasp the scene. This had to be some mistake. Maybe an incident with the neighbors that accidentally spilled into our yard. Clara was surely home, standing behind the curtains, equally bewildered by this nightmare. The officer at the gate stepped forward. "Sir, step back. This is an active investigation." Voice calm but firm. I pulled out my wallet, showed my ID. "This is my house, John Morrison. I live here. What happened? Is my wife okay?" He studied my ID intently, compared it to my face once, then again, longer than procedure required. "She's inside, Mr. Morrison. Detective Morrison will speak with you shortly." He guided me under the tape. I caught a glimpse of paramedics loading the stretcher into the ambulance. A man, face bloody, unconscious. An expensive suit, torn and stained. I'd never seen him before in my life. Detective Morrison appeared as if from thin air. A woman in her 40s, tired but with a piercing gaze that seemed to memorize every movement, every word. "Do you know this man, John?" "No, never seen him." "Who is he? What happened here?" She didn't answer directly. "Where were you this evening?" The question sounded dreamlike, as if I needed to prove my innocence for something I didn't understand. "At work, Row Logistics warehouse, prepping the evening shift, left at 6:30 sharp. We have cameras, time cards, lots of people. They'll confirm everything." She made notes in a pad, eyes fixed on the paper. "We'll need that information." Then she continued, "Your wife says this man is an acquaintance, dropped by unexpectedly. According to her, someone assaulted him near the house and set his car on fire. Any thoughts on who might do that?" The ground vanished beneath my feet. Clara never mentioned male acquaintances. In 12 years of marriage, no unexpected visits. She's too meticulous, cleans ahead, cooks on schedule. I don't understand. Clara never takes drop-in guests. She plans everything, lunches, meetings, everything scheduled. The detective's eyebrows lifted almost imperceptibly. Scheduled. Yes, she needs to prepare, clean, set the table, get everything in order. Uninvited guests just aren't her thing. That would stress her out. And as I said it, I began to realize how strange it sounded. Like I was describing a stranger, not my wife. And you have absolutely no idea who could hate you so much. Who would want to send you a message like this? The implication hit like cold water. They thought it was me, that I'd come home, caught the stranger, beaten him unconscious, then torched his car. If it weren't so serious, I could have laughed. But Morrison's face was deadly serious. I was at work from 2 p.m. I supervise 8 people. They all saw me. Time cards, cameras, plenty of witnesses. It's all there. We'll verify that. For now, ... She looked up. You understand, this is now a crime scene. We'll be working all night. The house and yard are under investigation. Can I see my wife? For the first time, Morrison softened slightly. She's very shaken. Says, I've never seen anything like it in my life. I followed her. Past crime scene techs with cameras and evidence bags. Past the tape snaking around everything like a yellow serpent. The living room had become a command post. Notebooks, recorders, folders on the coffee table. The air reeked of smoke from the car. Clara sat on the sofa, wrapped in a gray police blanket, a cup of coffee trembling in her hands. Makeup smeared, hands shaking. When she saw me, she burst into tears again. John, God, it was awful. I sat beside her, automatically reaching to hug her, but something stopped me. She was shaking. Yes, but there was something else in her face, something like guilt. What happened, Clara? Who is that man? I don't know. Well, just an acquaintance. Met him at the gym. Dimitri. He wanted to invite us to a book club. A book club. Clara hadn't read anything longer than a magazine in all 12 years. Detective Morrison stood nearby, silently observing every glance, every word, every gesture, as if it was all evidence to doubt crept in from all sides. And perhaps the worst thing was, I understood them. The firefighters dealt with the car quickly. The flames were extinguished. Only a charred, seemingly flattened husk on wheels remained of the SUV. Morrison approached me with a different tone. We'll keep the perimeter taped off until morning, until forensics finish. Mr. Morrison, you're allowed in the house, but officially, you're a person of interest until we have the full picture. Person of interest. The word rang in my head like train tracks clanging. She folded her notebook, put away her pen, headed for the exit. The ambulance was already taking the guest away. Firefighters hosed down the smoldering remains. The whole street was looking at our house, and every gaze from neighbors, cops, onlookers, bored into me, silently asking, so, what did you do? When the last officer left the house, it was 11:30. For the first time that evening, Clara and I were alone. No radios, no boots on the hardwood, no strange voices and recordings. Just her and me. And a huge, heavy silence. Clara dropped the police blanket and started pacing the kitchen and living room, muttering under her breath like rehearsed lines. I don't understand who could do this. Poor Dima. Just awful. Dima. She'd said his name for the 3rd time. And each time, with that involuntary inflection used for someone you've been intimate with. I started speaking calmly, the voice I use with drivers at work when someone messes up. And I need to understand, deliberate or stupid. Sit down, Clara. We need to talk. She chose an armchair by the wall opposite the sofa. For the first time in 12 years, I didn't see her sit beside me. Her face looked post-interrogation, mascara smeared again, lipstick completely gone. And I suddenly wondered, When had she wiped it off? Before the police arrived, or after? Tell me about Dima, I said. I already told you, she began, looking away. Just a guy from the gym. We chatted a couple times. He suggested a book club. Last name. She fell silent. Lips moved, but no sound came out. Her eyes darted to the window, where the burned-out Hulk still loomed in the streetlight. Danilov, she finally exhaled. Dmitry Danilov. And his club is where? What gym does he work at? What? You've been going to Fit Life for 3 years. I've picked you up dozens of times. So who is he? Their trainer, manager? What gym did you see him at? Her facade seemed to crack. Her expression crumbled. That performative tremor she held for the police. It was peeling off like a poorly glued mask. He just goes there as a client. Clara, I leaned forward, still calm. I saw the card statements. You haven't been to the gym in 6 months. Silence hung like freezing fog. A dog barked somewhere outside, then quickly stopped. Cold seeped into me from the street, from within, from this room where I sat beside a woman I thought I knew better than anyone. Her breathing hitched, her chest heaved in jerks, like she couldn't get enough air. Panic attack, guilt, or just fear. John, I can explain everything. Really. Enough. I cut her off, because I'd been trying to piece it together all evening, and it wasn't adding up. A stranger shows up in an expensive car, gets beaten nearly to death right in our yard. His car gets torched, and you claim you barely knew him. The words burst out of her like boiling water, shrill, fragmented, desperate. The car was burning. I called 911 immediately. Why did he come? She hugged herself, started rocking back and forth like a child. He just wanted to talk about us, about feelings. The truth wasn't in the words, it was between them. In how she couldn't meet my eyes. In how her slumped shoulders betrayed guilt. In every detail, voice, posture, breath. The woman I'd shared a bed with for 12 years, who knew my habits inside out, how I drink coffee, which side of the sink I shave on, how I fall asleep. But now I was looking at a stranger. Anger didn't come as an explosion. It was icy, precise, clean. Not a flash, but a cold, crystal-clear realization. How long? I asked. John, please, How long have you been sleeping with him? Her face crumpled like paper. That was it. The last remnants of the lie evaporated, and the truth arrived. 6 months, but it meant nothing. It meant this, I said. I stood up calmly, without sudden moves. Just stood and said firmly, get out of my sight. Pack what you need for the night. The guest room is free. John, we can get through this. I made a mistake, but I love you. I choose you, Dima. It was just a mistake. Yeah, a mistake, I interrupted her. A mistake you made repeatedly for 6 months. A mistake that brought police, an ambulance, a fire. And you lie to my face. Then say you love me. She grabbed my sleeve. Her hands shook. Please, honey, I'm begging. I'll fix it. Never again. I understand now. I looked at her fingers. The same hands that touched another man. The ones from which she'd taken off her wedding ring and put back on before the police arrived. The mark was visible. A white stripe, skin slightly lighter. She went pale. Her voice broke. You're joking. I've never been more serious in my life. She stood as if she'd lost her footing, then silently went upstairs. I heard drawers opening, things being packed into a suitcase. I stayed downstairs. Outside, the black silhouette of the burned car under a tarp, its shape still recognizable. a grim monument to my marriage. 20 minutes later, Clara came down with a suitcase and a pillow. At the guest room door, she turned, eyes tear-filled. "I didn't mean to, but it happened." "Yeah, it happened," I said. "Now we both live with it." She closed the guest room door with a soft click. A minute later, deep, wrenching sobs started. But I went upstairs to the bedroom, alone. It smelled of her perfume, but the bed was only mine now. I lay on my back, hands clasped behind my head, and for the first time in a long while, I fell asleep, calmly, thinking about lawyers, documents, and the warehouse cameras that would prove my innocence. In the next room, Clara sobbed until she faded into silence, and I slept better than I had in the last 6 months. Patricia Christensen's office was exactly what the office of a family lawyer inspiring both trust and fear should be. Shelves, floor-to-ceiling, lined with law books and references, diplomas from everywhere, Columbia to the London School of Economics, a leather chair, a massive desk. Outside the window, a downtown panorama radiating wealth and confidence. She flipped through a folder retrieved from the archives. "I remember this agreement." Patricia adjusted her glasses, read aloud, Clause 4. In the event of infidelity by one party, complete forfeiture of claims to jointly acquired property, alimony, etc. "Do you have proof?" I handed her a flash drive. It has the police report, Clara's statement where she confirms a 6-month affair with Dmitry Danilov, plus card statements, hotels, restaurants, gifts I never saw. She plugged in the drive, scrolled silently, made notes, occasionally snorted. "The report is damning," she finally said. She admitted everything herself, signature plus receipts. Textbook, as we say. Classic case of marital infidelity, falling under the agreement's terms. "But, John, I have to ask, you have no involvement in the assault on Danilov." "I was at work from 2 p.m. until 6:30. Time cards, cameras, 8 people on shift, including the foreman. It's all with the police already." "Good, because if there's even a hint you were involved, even indirectly, it could seriously harm the case. The divorce could be delayed, and there's a chance the court might view things differently." She looked at me intently over her glasses. "Are you absolutely sure you want to see this through? No chance of reconciliation?" "Patricia, she lied to my face for 6 months, in our home, in our bed, dragged me into a police investigation, and the cherry on top, her lover's burned-out car on our lawn. What, pray tell, is there to reconcile with? Some people believe infidelity can be forgiven. Some people are idiots," I stated flatly. Patricia smirked. "If no resistance, 6 to 8 weeks. But with this evidence, even the slickest lawyer will tell her, settle, or it gets worse." I left her office, feeling euphoric, like I'd shrugged off 70 pounds. The morning sun shone brightly, traffic seemed lighter, even the elevator music didn't grate. Everything felt lighter, cleaner, and crucially, for the first time since that evening, I had a clear, defined path forward. When I got home, Clara was sitting at the kitchen table with a coffee cup, face painted, makeup neat, hair done, wearing the blue dress I once said I particularly liked her in. All a flimsy, hastily assembled attempt to pretend nothing happened. A theatrical intermission. I put my briefcase on the table, loosened my tie. I booked a table at Harmony for 7:30. Thought maybe we could sit, talk about us. I looked at her calmly. "Cancel it. John, please. I know you're angry, but we can get through this. I already booked with Dr. Eamon. He does couples counseling. He has an opening next week." "Enough, Clara. I've made my decision. Signed and notarized papers were in the briefcase. Just needed to serve them. But even looking at her, so dressed up, forcing a smile, with that stupid plea in her eyes, I didn't feel rage. Almost pity. Almost, you need to find a lawyer. Today, not tomorrow. Today. What are you saying? She paled. John, is this a joke? I filed for divorce this morning. You'll be served the papers tomorrow. Her coffee cup slipped, shattered on the tile. Drops scalded her fingers, but she didn't even flinch. Stared at the puddle on the floor, as if trying to comprehend the truth. You can't be serious, John. It was a mistake. One time, just a weakness. One time, I snorted. Every day for 6 months. Tears came again, but now they were different. Not those raw, gut-wrenching ones. These were angry, theatrical, manipulative. Fine, divorce me, but you can't leave me with nothing. I gave you the best years of my life, and I got 12 years of lies. No, I simply anticipated you'd turn out to be exactly who you are. She stood up sharply. The chair scraped the tile. I'll contest everything. That stupid contract of yours is nothing. I'll find a lawyer. I won't let myself be humiliated like this. Good luck. Patricia Christensen thinks otherwise. The name worked like a slap. She knew who that was and understood her chances were slim. I need time. I need to think. She backed toward the stairs. You have 7 days, then you're out. She froze on the first step, hands gripping the railing. What about the police? What if they still suspect you? I shrugged. They have everything they need. I'm clean. His problems aren't mine anymore. Neither are you. An hour later, I heard her calling someone, probably her mother or sister. Voice crying at first, then angry. She started telling her version. Let her. By tomorrow, it would be official. I ordered Chinese and ate alone at the kitchen table, reading a preliminary asset list from Patricia. Everything was mine. House, accounts, investments, everything. Just as we signed 12 years ago. When Clara was so happy to get married, she didn't read the fine print. That night, I slept in our bedroom. No, my bedroom. Clara stayed in the guest room. Through the wall, I could hear her calling, arguing, sniffling, crying, but I didn't listen. I knew how it would end.